What's up guys, so over here I have the Redmi Watch 3 Active and the Redmi Watch 5 Active, and in this video we are going to be talking about the differences between these two smartwatches. I have actually reviewed these two smartwatches and I've actually used them for some couple of months, so I can actually categorically tell you the differences and even recommend which is actually better depending on the situation. Keep in mind we are also going to be talking about the similarities between these two smartwatches as well by the end of this video. But first things first, one of the major differences you will notice between the two smartwatches after buying them for the first time is the fact that they both use different operating systems. So the Redmi Watch 5 Active over here actually uses the Xiaomi Hyper OS. It is a new operating system for Xiaomi Redmi smartwatches. However, the Redmi Watch 3 Active over here does not use the Xiaomi Hyper OS. It is actually the older operating system and it just shows the Mi Fitness app logo once you turn it on. But once you turn on the Redmi Watch 5 Active, you're going to see the Xiaomi Hyper OS, which is going to show on the screen. And that particular operating system is a way better operating system because it works faster, it is smoother, and also more effective than the previous operating system that the Redmi Watch 3 Active actually uses. Now, another noticeable differences between the Redmi Watch 3 Active and the Redmi Watch 5 Active is actually on the screen. Now, if you actually look at both, you would notice that the Redmi Watch 3 Active is actually more circular in shape. It is more circular or spherical in shape. As you can see, it has curves at the end over here. However, even though the Redmi Watch 5 Active actually has curve, it's more boxy than the Redmi Watch 3 Active. As you can see, another major differences you would notice between both smartwatches is on the screen size. Obviously, the Redmi Watch 5 Active is a little bit bigger than the Redmi Watch 3 Active. According to the official Redmi smartwatch website, the Redmi Watch 5 Active actually is 49.1 by 40.4 by 11.4. That is in its height, width and weight. However, the Redmi Watch 3 Active is actually different. The Redmi Watch 3 Active is actually 49.94 by 38.88 by 10.94 millimeter in its height, weight and thickness as well. Also, the Redmi Watch 3 Active actually weighs 41.64 kg, whereas the Redmi Watch 5 Active actually weighs 30.6. So obviously, the Redmi Watch 5 Active is less heavier than the Redmi Watch 3 Active over here. Now, coming over to the battery capacity of both smartwatches, the Redmi Watch 5 Active actually lasts way longer than the Redmi Watch 3 Active, obviously because the Redmi Watch 5 Active has a bigger battery. It has a 470 mAh battery, whereas the Redmi Watch 3 Active actually has 289 mAh battery. So it can actually last you for about 12 days, whereas the Redmi Watch 5 Active will last you for about 18 days. This is also because the Redmi Watch 5 Active has a better operating system than the Redmi Watch 3 Active. If you're looking at getting any of both devices, they both contain exactly the same thing inside of the box. So you actually get the smartwatches itself, you get a manual, a charging cable, and just some paperwork that actually covers the smartwatch. So you're not missing out anything on both smartwatches if you get any of them. But then one of the features you would get from the Redmi Watch 5 Active that is not on the Redmi Watch 3 Active is actually on the auto detect feature. So if you actually go over to the settings of both smartwatches and then just open up the settings from over here, you will actually notice that there is the auto detect feature, but you don't get that on the Redmi Watch 3 Active. This auto detect feature allows your smartwatch to be able to detect whatever you're doing at any time. If you're running or you're jogging, whatever you're doing, it will be able to detect it, but you don't actually get this feature on the Redmi Watch 3 Active. One of the biggest differences in features I have actually noticed between the two smartwatches is the fact that you get the notification settings feature and also the Alexa feature on the Redmi Watch 5 Active, but you don't actually get that on the Redmi Watch 3 Active. So take for instance, if you actually swipe horizontally on both smartwatches, you're going to notice that there is the Alexa feature over here, which is actually activated if I connect it to my phone. But currently it is not connected to my phone. Once you connect it, you should be able to use Alexa on the Redmi Watch 5 Active, but you don't actually get that on the Redmi Watch 3 Active. Also, on both smartwatches, if you head over to the settings and then just open up the settings of both smartwatches, you're going to notice that there is the notification features over here, which allows you to perform certain tasks on the Redmi Watch 5 Active, like keeping the screen awake. So you can actually wake screen from over here, but you don't actually get all of that on the Redmi Watch 3 Active because there are no notification settings for you to be able to do all of that from the Redmi Watch 3 Active. Meanwhile, keep in mind that the speakers on the Redmi Watch 5 Active is also a little bit better than the ones on the Redmi Watch 3 Active, so you're actually getting better stereos and better speaker loudness, so you can actually properly hear whenever you make calls and receive calls with your Redmi Watch 5 Active than the Redmi Watch 3 Active. As for brightness of both smartwatches, they are actually very bright, and in both smartwatches there is a feature for you to adjust the brightness. So if you go over to the settings of both smartwatches, there is actually the brightness or display feature, and if you also come over here, there is the display feature as well. You can actually adjust the brightness of both smartwatches and choose whatever you want for both smartwatches. Now, coming over to the resolution of both smartwatches, the resolution of the Redmi Watch 5 Active is actually 320 by 385 resolution, 250 ppi. However, for the Redmi Watch 3 Active, you get a 240 by 280 resolution, but this is not something you're going to notice on both smartwatches very well. The only thing I can actually say is that the Redmi Watch 5 Active is way more smooth in navigation than the Redmi Watch 3 Active. It all boils down to your preference anyways. Both smartwatches uses an LCD screen. The Redmi Watch 5 Active is a 2-inch LCD display screen, whereas the Redmi Watch 3 Active is a 1.83-inch LCD display screen. They are both water resistant at about 5 ATM for both smartwatches, and then both smartwatches uses the Bluetooth 5.3, so they actually have the same capacity in that area. And now that we are done with the differences of both smartwatches, one of the major similarities of both smartwatches is the fact that they both use the Mi Fitness app. So if you get the Redmi Watch 5 Active or the Redmi Watch 3 Active, you will have to download the Mi Fitness app from the Google Play Store or iOS App Store of your smartwatch. Most likely you will be getting the same feature, like being able to make calls and receive calls, changing the wallpaper to set a custom wallpaper for yourself, and then receiving your social media notifications, aside from the fitness features that both smartwatches actually come with. If you find this video useful, please make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more interesting tech tips like this one.